The genealogy of Echidna varies from author to author. Unfortunately, it is all we have to go by. We must understand that a creation myth, or legend, of a certain deity, is not necessarily the true meaning, or story, of how that deity came to be. For instance, the legend of Echidna is not only found in Greek mythology and culture, as so many may have thought, although the stories of this entity does come from Greek sources. The oldest version of Echidna's genealogy was recorded by Hesiod between the 8th and 7th century BC. According to Hesiod, Echidna was born to a she, who was probably meant to be the sea goddess Ceto, making Echidna's likely father, the sea god Phorcys. However, the she might instead refer to the Oceanid Callirrhoe, which would make Medusa's offspring, Chrysaor, the father of Echidna. The mythographer Pherecydes of Athens wrote in the 5th century BC, Echidna is the daughter of Phorcys, god of the sea, and a nameless mother. In another tradition, Echidna is the daughter of the goddess from the river Styx, or Tartarus, and Gaia, which is another way of saying hell and earth. In the Orphic tradition, she is the daughter of Phanes, which was considered the All-Father, much like Odin was to the Norse, and Yalta both to the Gnostics. Echidna was depicted as a beautiful woman from the head down to waist. Instead of limbs or a fish tail, she had 2 serpent tails, or tentacles. Hesiod described the goddess fierce Echidna as a flesh-eating monster, with irresistible beauty and charm, who was like neither mortal men nor the undying gods, but was half a nymph with glancing eyes, fair cheeks, half woman and half huge snake, with speckled skin, who dies not, and never grows old. These accounts have many similarities with the man-eating sirens of folklore, as the viewer will come to see. Echidna was said to be the mate of Typhon, the Greek god of storms, and together, they were the progenitor of huge chimeric monsters. Echidna has a strong connection to the Scythian culture and religion, and was believed to be the mother ancestress of the Scythian kings, much like Melusine is to the royal and noble families of France and the Merovingian dynasty. More on Melusine later. Many scholars on ancient religions and cultures believe that the Scythian religion is of Iranic origin. There are also connections to the Vedic and Avestan religion, and creation myths, and in my own studies, Sumerian culture. For instance, the Scythians and Alans worship 7 main deities, which begins with the goddess of heat, fire and the hearth, called Tabati. Her name means the burning one or the flaming one. She was the goddess of the primordial fire, which alone existed before the creation of the universe and was the basic essence and the source of all creation, just as Aaron from the Orphic tradition, which is actually based on the Holy Spirit's position in the cosmos, which is mentioned in the book of Genesis, as the Spirit of God, that was over the waters. From her were born, Api, which means water in Avestan and represented the earth, and Papaius, heaven, much like the watery Gaia and Uranus from Greek mythology, or Tiamat and Apsu from Sumerian mythology. As well as the waters above in scripture, which was considered male, and the waters below, considered female. The union of Api and Papaius gave birth to the third world, and the other deities, first the primordial deities, and then the Titans, just as the union of Apsu and Tiamat brought forth the Sumerian deities and monsters, known as the Anunnaki gods, goddesses, and offspring of Tiamat. Papaios was the son of Tapionte, the primordial fire. Papaios and Api initially existed together, into an inseparable unity, with their union representing the joining together of opposite principles, such as above and below, male and female, warmth and moisture, representing the marriage of heaven and earth found in Indo-Iranic and Vedic religion. According to Origen of Alexandria, the Scythians considered Papaius to be a supreme god, hence the ancient Greeks connected him with their own god Zeus, who was conceptualized as a cosmic force that was the father of all peoples and gods throughout the world, including in Scythia, much like Enlil to the Sumerians. Papaios and Api were part of the second rank of deities, and the third rank of deities, in Scythian mythology, were the 4 deities, Targai Tava, the forefather of the Scythian kings, whom was called the Scythian Heracles, which is a son of Zeus. Targai Tava might also have been identified by the Greeks in southern Scythia with Achilles Pontarchus, the Trojan warrior and lord of the Pontic Sea, in which role he was associated with the snake-legged goddess, and was the father of her 3 sons, just as the myth of Hercules, Echidna and the origin of the Scythians is recorded.